Hey there YouTube, this is Mr.Lubufu and I'm here with kind of an interesting video. Um, so I am kind of an active user on Twitter, and a guy who I've been following for a while, he's pretty nice at making commander videos, is CMD Tower or Command Tower. Um, and unfortunately, he was cheated during an event, and he posted about it on Twitter. And so he then released an article uh, going over all the different ways, like he's seen people, or he mentions people that have cheated. Um, and I kind of wanted to show you guys physically, like his is all in text, and I kind of want to show it in video form, kind of what's going on. So what I have to preface this is, guys, don't cheat. I don't think you will, because like people are people, but ultimately like, don't cheat. See how I'm a judge? I'm completely and totally saying do not cheat. This video is purely for informational purposes, so you guys can see possible cheats that might happen to you, so we can help make Magic the Gathering better for everyone. Just accept the rules of the game that are enforced, because if you like, just don't cheat. I can't stress it enough. So these are just some of the ways to cheat or like that he mentions, or that I've known personally from seeing other people, just with in playing the game. So not in like deck construction or anything else. Where I mean, you can, if people try hard enough, they can cheat. But anyway, let's just go ahead and go through. So this is how he was cheated. So someone took their deck and they put all the lands in one pile and all the spells in the other. So then what they did is they took. So this is what is I would argue it's insufficient randomization. Because you take all the lands in the top and put them on top of the deck. You then start to deal out into 5 different piles. So I'm going to have to do this. So it has to be 5 piles, and this is why it's relevant. Because this is one of those counting tricks that happen. It's kind of hard to deal with a tripod in the way, by the way. But basically what you set up is a pattern. So those of you that know that there is a magic trick that you can set up, so that way you have someone pick a card, and then you deal out 3 piles, and then after doing it 3 different times, because you're doing math mod 13, or not 13, mod 3, you are able to figure out exactly what card they picked, just based on on what happens. So the first thing that happens is this: you make 5 piles. Then you take all the piles and place them on top of each other. It doesn't really matter which one happens, it's just important that you get them on top or bottom. Like technically it doesn't matter, you just don't shuffle them. And then what you do is you take all the piles and you redeal them into 5 different piles again. Again, very hard to deal with a tripod in the way. I'm trying just not to bump it or anything. But basically what you're doing now is doing something that's kind of, I mean, since this is different than mana weaving, but it's along the same stretch, I would argue. What this is doing is setting up a deck that is not truly random. Because what you're doing now is, after you've done all this, you then present the deck to be cut. And it doesn't matter how they cut unless they shuffle, because what you set up is the following, and this is kind of ridiculous, right? So you get spell. This is the standard Jeskai Ascendancy deck, if you care, but it's spell, land, spell, spell, land, land, spell, or spell, land. So here you get, importantly, 1 land in 3, 1 land in 3. You get 1 land every 2 or 3 cards. So there's 3, land, spell, spell, or every 2 or 3, just because of based on how many lands you play. But you just get this nice little weave where you get a land every couple spells. And you can continue this if you want, right? But you sort of see what's going on here. You've presented a deck that has I would argue, perfect mana spell distribution. So you get one land every 1 or 2 spells. And this is, I mean, pretty obviously cheating. Like, this is another spell. This might be a spell or a land. It's a land, so this is a spell. Spell or land. Land. Oh, there we go. We hit a dead spot. But apart from that spot right there, like, you still see that there's this sort of not true randomization going on. So this is bad. The important thing to do is, like, if you see someone doing this, it is completely possible that they're doing it unintentionally. Because, well, some people just pile shuffle with 5. I personally always pile shuffle with a prime number that does not divide the number of cards in the deck, because that's just how I feel lucky about it. But what you do, and this is especially true at competitive REL events, one, if you think something sketchy is going on, you call a judge. Like, always do that. But this is why when they present, especially a competitive REL, you take it and you shuffle it yourself. Just some small weave shuffling. And this is another reason why just pile shuffling isn't enough. Like, if they do the pile shuffle and then they do some decent weave shuffling, they're probably just fine, right? Because after enough of this shuffling, you get a far better randomization. And that's kind of what you have to go for, right? Because now if I try to do it, it's can be just truly random. Though it is sort of working out, I suppose. It is going land spell. But get some good shuffles in. Like, if they do the double 5 pile and then don't shuffle, like, make sure they do shuffle. So again, keep your eyes out for that one. Apparently someone was just, again, this is what happened to him. He got cheated out because of that trick. Don't ever do it. No cheating. Cheating's bad. But basically, just to prevent it, like, make sure you shuffle your opponent's deck, and if, let's see, where is it going? Yeah. If you're at a competitive REL event, shuffle their deck. If they just pile shuffle and don't do any additional shuffling after the fact, that's sketchy. Again, at a competitive REL event, you can call over a judge for a deck check if you think something's up. But just basically make sure that you keep your eyes open for this one. This is one that's been happening, apparently. Another one that's been happening is what's called the bottom stacking. Again, if you want to see the text version of all of these, there will be a link in the description below to his article. But let's say I'm cracking a fetch land, which there aren't any in this deck because I don't have any. But let's say while I'm cracking the fetch land, I want to put some other cards that might be relevant, i.e. Jeskai Ascendancy in this case. I want to put them closer to the top of my deck. So what I do is while I'm searching out, let's say, a basic island, I go ahead and I move Jeskai Ascendancies to the bottom of the deck. So then when I go to shuffle, I don't shuffle truly, because what I do is I basically do this bottom stacking. So I shuffle like so. Basically what I'm doing is I'm keeping the Jeskai Ascendancies all in the bottom of the deck, because I'm not doing full shuffle. So I get a pile, and I always make the pile a little bit bigger on the bottom to make sure that these are still always on the bottom, right? And then on the last shuffle, before I present, I actually bring it up a little bit, and I try and spread out the bottom 3 cards, so that way it gets put slightly above the bottom, and then you present to be cut. So that way when people cut, now I did not cut this way intentionally, but a few cards down, oh my god, I got it perfectly. A few cards down, you'll get the card you're looking for. And of course, someone who's actively trying can probably get even better. But what it's doing is make sure that, like, if they're cracking fetch lands or anything like that, just like, it's possible that they're just breaking up their deck. which is legal. But if they're just like pulling cards to the bottom and then shuffling really weird, like it's noticeable because like shuffling like this, which is normal, is a different feel than going like this. Like you have to be pretty deliberate about it to keep it the same. The same way if you wanted to keep a certain card on top, right? Uh, let's say I put all the cards at the top. Then it's pretty deliberate that I'm leaving some cards unshuffled. So something just to keep in mind. Again, I'm pretty confident that like 95, 98% of Magic players never cheat or even considered any of this. This is just an informational thing to get you guys to know what sort of things can happen, and that you should keep your eyes open. Much like how I did my like catching cheaters at pre-release video a while back. Another thing you can do, like if you wanted to prevent this, which is highly recommended, apart from if they present doing a quick little riffle shuffle, is just always cut differently. Sometimes from the top, sometimes from the middle. Do some sort of 3-pile shuffle or 3-pile cut. Just something to prevent it. This is not something you can probably call a judge on because it's impossible to really prove, but it's something to do. In the article, I'm not going to go over everything the article does because it has plenty of other ones. Just basically, it talks about the cheat that has been known, what happens, and how to prevent it. And the key thing to read about it is how to prevent it, because like we don't want it to do, like we don't want cheating in Magic. The other one that I've seen is, let's say someone is like playing Magic, they have their hand or whatever, and then they go to do their draw phase. I've seen people like take, this is like one card, but it's actually two. What they do is they take the card and they basically take two cards and just put it slightly pointed out to the deck. So what they do is when they draw, they pinch, and this one's mentioned in the article too. But what they do is they're pinching two cards. I've seen people that do weird draws where they put two cards and then they pull two cards and then they flick it up so you can always see that there's two cards. But basically, it's just drawing extra cards. Just watch to make sure people don't do it. That one's pretty easy to do, or to make sure to prevent. Rather, is just pay attention to how many cards are going on. Like, just watch. Be attentive when you play the game. That's kind of like the big one that's been going on, as far as I'm aware. So those are the three that I kind of want to just show you guys as just, again, informational video. Don't ever cheat. Just know what's out there. Be attentive. Don't assume your opponent's going to cheat, because again, most players won't. Just, this is information to get you guys, to let you guys know what are possibilities that people have done. Thank you guys all for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And again, big thanks to Command Tower. I'll put links to his stuff as well down below, so be sure to check that out if you want to have a very fun read. Thank you guys all for watching.